put together.
Following program contains images and voices of someone who has died.
Tonight, tricky diplomacy confronts the King of Jordan, a key US partner in the Middle East.
We're going to have Gaza.
And in Gaza, there's more uncertainty on whether the ceasefire and hostage deal will hold. Also, 2 health workers stood down and an investigation launched into a video that appears to threaten Israeli patients. An international pledge to make AI inclusive and ethical. And what progress has been made in the 60 years since the Australian Freedom Rides? I'm Janice Peterson. This is SBS World News. Good evening. Jordan's King Abdullah is facing more pressure to take in large numbers of Palestinians from Gaza. At a meeting in the White House, the US President Donald Trump reiterated his plans to take over the Strip. While in Gaza, the tenuous ceasefire between Israel and Hamas is facing its toughest challenge yet. Israel now confirming it will return to full fighting if Saturday's hostage release doesn't go ahead as planned.
King Abdullah of Jordan receiving what appeared to be a warm welcome to the White House. Inside, the talks quickly turning hot.
We're going to have Gaza. We don't have to buy. There's nothing to buy. It's a war-torn area. We're going to take it.
And Mr. Brennan, take it under what authority? It is sovereign territory.
Under the U.S. authority. There's not going to be any problem, and nobody's going to question it.
Plenty have questioned it, including the man sitting beside him. Jordan is a close ally of the US and one heavily dependent on its aid. Aid the president has publicly threatened to withhold if Jordan continues to reject his plans to relocate Gaza's entire population.
I believe we'll have a parcel of land in Jordan. I believe we'll have a parcel of land in Egypt.
Some people say this is ethnic cleansing. You won't be able to force them to leave their land.
We're moving them to a beautiful location where they have new homes, where they can live safely.
The king forced to tread the tightrope.
We have to keep in mind that there is a plan from Egypt and the Arab countries. We're being invited by Mohammed bin Salman to discussions in Riyadh. So I think let's wait until the Egyptians can come and present it to the president and not get ahead of ourselves.
Their meeting triggering protests in Jordan's capital, where the king's top diplomat was able to speak far more freely.
Jordan is for Jordanians and Palestine is for Palestinians. The solution is in Palestine and displacement is not in Jordan's interest.
Inside Gaza, there's another more pressing issue. The Israeli Prime Minister has now ordered troops to assemble around the Strip after Hamas announced Saturday's hostage release would be delayed over alleged Israeli ceasefire violations.
ההחלטה שהעברתי בקבינט פה אחד היא זאת: אם חמאס לא יחזיר את חטופינו עד שבת בצהריים, הפסקת האש תיפסק וצה"ל יחזור ללחימה עצימה עד להכרעה סופית של החמאס.
The outlook among Palestinians in Gaza now bleak.
ما بدنا حرب، بدنا نوقف الحرب. احنا معينا حروب، معينا نعيش الزكنان. والله صرنا نتمنى الموت يعني واتصالنا هذا ايش ذنبها؟ احنا ايش ذنب اولادنا ايش ذنبهم الصغار يصيحوا.
73 hostages, dead and alive, remain in Gaza. Nearly 500 days since they were taken, the family of one has just received the first signs of life. Alon Ahel sending his family a message via the hostages released last week.
They were with Alon. So now they're home, but Alon is continuing to be starved. Alon is continuing to be with shackles and not be able to move. He's there. Please bring him home.
Israel and Hamas now have less than 4 days to get the deal back on track. Claudia Farhart, SBS World News.
2 New South Wales health workers have been stood down after footage emerged of the pair allegedly making anti-Semitic remarks online. In the video shared on social media, 2 people wearing New South Wales health uniforms vowed to kill Israeli patients seeking care. The government has condemned the video and police are launching an investigation.
Within hours of being shared online, this conversation between Israeli social media personality Max Viper and two Australian nurses on night shift went viral. The pair say they'd refuse to treat Israeli patients, going as far as to say they'd kill them.
You have no idea how many Israeli dog came to this hospital and...
Viewers quickly alerting Australian authorities.
It makes me sick to my stomach. The idea that a couple of health professionals would say that they refuse to treat someone because of their race or because of their religion runs contrary to the most fundamental principle of healthcare.
The pair are both nurses at Bankstown Hospital. The male nurse has been identified as Ahmed Rashad Nadir. SBS spoke to Nadir in 2015 about his aspiration to become a doctor. He has reportedly told Sydney media that he plans to apologise for what he describes as a joke that misfired. His dream now unlikely.
Those people subject to that investigation will not ever be working for New South Wales Health again.
Both have been stood down pending a full criminal investigation to be led by Strikeforce Pearl, set up amid a string of anti-Semitic attacks across Sydney.
For the last 15 months, Jewish Australians have been subjected to harassment, doxing, firebombing, death threats and terror plots. Prime Minister, the Australian Jewish community is living in fear. How did the country get to this point?
It is very clear to me that these people have committed what are crimes, and they should face the full force of the law.
Israel's ambassador to Australia declined to be interviewed, but in a statement described the comments as unacceptable, a sentiment echoed by Jewish community leaders.
The video that we saw was absolutely chilling and horrific. The brazen way, the open and confident manner in which these people spoke about killing and torturing and wishing death upon Israelis, and particularly coming from our medical professionals who we look to for care and support, was a ghastly thing to see.
The Australian Medical Association has sought to reassure the Jewish community, saying practitioners are committed to providing the best possible care to every patient. Sophie Bennett, SBS World News.
And our chief political correspondent Anna Henderson has more on this from Parliament House in Canberra. Good evening, Anna. We heard there from the Prime Minister, but what broader message is the government sending here?
Well, Janice, the Prime Minister is using the strongest terms possible to condemn such actions and make it clear that there are police resources and political resources going into efforts to combat anti-Semitism. Just last week, the Parliament passed new laws on hate speech that attract a mandatory penalty, and they apply to those advocating the use of force and violence. The opposition is demanding a broader review of the culture in the hospital system across the country. And that's also the view of the anti-Semitism envoy, Gillian Siegel, who's called for hospitals to review their codes of conduct to outlaw bigoted behaviour.
And Anna, the other big issue confronting the government is President Donald Trump's tariffs. What's the latest on that front?
Well, there is a sense of nervousness in Canberra tonight, Janice. A key White House advisor was highly critical of Australia's aluminium export industry overnight. The government has been keen to underscore its efforts to diversify trade in both steel and aluminium to other nations across Asia, India and the Middle East. But there's also acknowledgement in these halls that the Trump White House has a track record of keeping nations guessing, and it's a key tactic in how the president does business. Attempts to forge a deal to protect Australian metals getting heavy.
È un circuito penitenziario che è assoggettato al dominio delle organizzazioni criminali, nei quali i mafiosi detenuti godono di intatta capacità di comunicazione e di diramazione di direttive criminose.
Police say weapons were found during the blitz. The Sicilian mafia is no longer Europe's most powerful mob, but police say it still attracts many young people who are drawn to its principles. Well, the new Champions League round of 16 playoffs have kicked off. The pick of the games, Real Madrid twice recovered from a goal down to meet Manchester City.
Pep Guardiola's men shook off their recent disappointing form to take the lead. Well, Guardiola... The goal, Manchester City Jack Grealish looked lively on a rare start for City, but he came off injured after only half an hour, and Real Madrid began to threaten.
Early trying to work the shooting chance, and he has that over the goal.
Instead, the Spanish league leaders reeled their opponents in. Although City restored its lead from the penalty spot, there was an air of inevitability about the finale as Real's megastars snatched victory in the dying minutes.
Vinicius Junior. And in. The race is on. And Bellingham coming in. Scores! And in next to no time, everything has changed.
Taking a 3-2 lead back to Madrid makes Real hot favourites to go through. Paris Saint-Germain and Borussia Dortmund should also reach the round of 16. They each won the first legs of their playoffs 3-0 against Brest and Sporting Lisbon respectively, while Juventus is 2-1 up on PSV Eindhoven. Alex Thomas, SBS World News.
The former head of Spain's Football Federation has been testifying in his sexual assault case. Luis Rubiales is facing up to 2.5 years in jail for kissing player Jenny Hermoso. The alleged assault happened on the podium at Stadium Australia as Spain celebrated its first ever Women's World Cup title. Hermoso said it ruined the happiest moment of her life. Rubiales' defence team used a lip-reading expert to claim he had asked before kissing the player. Ken Hinckley's record reign as Port Adelaide coach will end this year. In a press conference this morning, Hinckley revealed the AFL club's not-so-secret succession plan. This will be his 13th and last season in charge before handing over to his assistant, Josh Carr. Fast bowler Mitchell Starc has withdrawn from the Australia squad for the upcoming ICC Champions Trophy in Pakistan next week, citing personal reasons. Steve Smith will lead the team. Meanwhile, spinner Matt Kinnaman is facing scrutiny for his bowling action by the sport's governing body. After helping Australia to win the second test in Sri Lanka, he was reported for a suspect action for the first time in his career. Five-time Olympian Melissa Wu has called time on her diving career. She's the only Aussie diver to go to that many games, bowing out at Paris last year. Wu won silver as a 16-year-old in Beijing back in 2008 and a bronze in Tokyo 4 years ago. She was given an emotional farewell at the New South Wales Institute of Sport.
I'm very lucky that I've had a really long and successful career. I've had a lot of people behind me, and I've also been able to see the next generation come through as well. So very happy day for me. Definitely sad to not be seeing everybody every day, but I'm very happy with what I've done.
Well, coming up, the weather details and how a pet that's been on the run for months was finally caught.
Hey, you mob. It's time to put down the vape and pick up a healthier habit. Moving my body helps distract me until my cravings pass. So try hitting the court, field, or track. You're not alone. Reach out. Let's quit together.
Hey, Dodo. Hey, here he is. You work at Dodo, right? What? Yeah. How are your mobile plans? They're great. Could you get us a deal?
Well, everyone gets a deal, so yes.
Hey, babe! Dodo's hooking us up. Yeah, I think she's in the shower. Mate, you want a shish kebab?
You are the person you wanted to become. Now it's time to show them who that is. Go on, give them everything you've got. Find what lights you up.
Once you see it everywhere. The Cupra for Mentor. What you feel is called obsession. Cupra, inspiring from Barcelona.
A cyclone has formed off Australia's west coast, threatening strong winds and rain. Tropical cyclone Zelia, currently a Category 1, formed rapidly overnight and is slowly tracking towards the Kimberley and Pilbara coast. A weather warning's been issued from Broome to Port Hedland with damaging wind gusts and heavy rain forecast. The Bureau says Cyclone Zelia could strengthen to a severe Category 3 by Friday. Let's check the forecast in more focus now, and rain and storms will persist across the tropics in an active monsoon. Warm weather is expected across the eastern states before a cool change. To the major centres now, a shower or two, and windy in Sydney, a shower or two in Canberra as well. Late showers and a cool change for Melbourne, a shower or two in Hobart. Possible showers for Adelaide as well. A bright spot, however, in Perth. The sun will be out there. Showers and a possible storm in Darwin. More wet weather on the way for Brisbane. Looking further afield now, wet and rainy in Port Vila, some thunderstorms in Nadi, clear skies in Wellington and Christchurch. In Southeast Asia, partly cloudy skies for Bangkok, some thunder to roll through Kuala Lumpur, wet and rainy in Singapore, thunderstorms also in Port Moresby. Let's head further north now, clear skies for Beijing, rain in Taipei, cloudy skies in Tokyo, in Hong Kong rather, and some drizzle in Hanoi and thunder in Manila. Heading west now, and some showers ahead for Beirut, snowfall in Tehran, partly cloudy skies in Islamabad and windy in New Delhi. Up to Europe now, a few showers on the way for Stockholm, snowfall in Berlin, partly cloudy in Kiev, thunder in Rome and grey skies in Istanbul. To Africa now, wet and showers ahead for Algiers, clear skies in Cairo, thunder in Lagos, partly cloudy in Addis Ababa and rain ahead for Johannesburg. To South America now, partly cloudy skies for Caracas, rain to hit Bogota, a few showers in Lima, thunder in Asuncion and sunny in Santiago. And for North America, cold and snowfall ahead for Toronto, rain to hit San Francisco, clear and fine for Denver, partly cloudy in Dallas and a few showers in Honolulu. One of the world's most active volcanoes is once again spewing lava on Hawaii's Big Island. Lava could be seen shooting out of Kilauea's crater and about 100 metres into the air. It's the 9th episode of eruptive activity since late December, and officials say the main concern is the amount of volcanic gas it will produce, but people's homes are currently not at risk. Well, now to the scruffy rescue dog who's been on the run for months, but now he's found his way back home. Meet Scrim, the 2-year-old dog who's become somewhat of an online hero for his escapades. He first escaped from his adopted New Orleans home in April, and then he wandered the city for months before he was caught and brought home. Then, in October, he leaped out of a second-story window. Finally, it was a cat trap that did the trick, and Scrim was recaptured.
Now he's safe. I'm going to give them the ability to roam, but also have a safe spot. And that's all I've ever wanted for him. It's not to put him in a kennel or not to put him in a cage or not to make him unhappy. I want him to be healthy, both physically and mentally.
Well, Scrim appears to be in good health, as you can see there, and pretty happy to be back in his bed. Recapping some of our top stories now, and US President Donald Trump has reiterated his plans to take over the Gaza Strip while meeting Jordan's King Abdullah at the White House. President Trump has repeatedly pushed Jordan to accept displaced Palestinians from the war-torn enclave. 2 nurses from a Sydney hospital have been suspended from their duties after they featured in a video allegedly threatening to kill Israeli patients. Police are investigating. The Senate is voting tonight on election reform laws to control how much money is being poured into politics after a late agreement was reached between the government and the coalition. And the federal government says it's prepared to acquire Rex Airlines if a suitable buyer for the collapsed regional airline is not found. That is the world this Wednesday. If you missed any of tonight's bulletin, you can catch up on SBS On Demand. Rochelle Harrison-Pless will be back with the late news. That's at 10:20 tonight. Till then, from the World News team, good night.